The United States of America, a nation built on a dream, a beacon of hope. In 1776, our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence. They declared freedom from British rule. It was a bold move, a risky move, but it was a move that would change the course of history. The early years of the United States were a time of great change. The nation was expanding westward, new territories were being settled, the Industrial Revolution was beginning to transform the economy. Americans were filled with a sense of optimism. They believed that anything was possible. The spirit of innovation was alive and well. Americans were constantly striving to create new technologies and industries. This period saw the rise of the railroad, the telegraph, and the factory system. These innovations helped to connect the country and fuel economic growth. But the young nation was also facing serious challenges. Slavery, a dark stain on the American conscience, continued to divide the nation. The Civil War, a bloody conflict that tested the very fabric of the nation, loomed on the horizon. The question of states' rights versus federal power remained a source of tension. The United States emerged from the Civil War a changed nation. Slavery was abolished, but the fight for equality was far from over. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were a time of great social and political upheaval. Millions of immigrants poured into the country, seeking a better life. Cities grew at an unprecedented rate. The Progressive Era saw a wave of reforms aimed at addressing issues such as poverty, corruption, and working conditions. The United States played a pivotal role in both world wars, emerging as a global superpower. The Cold War brought new challenges as the nation faced off against the Soviet Union. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s marked a turning point in the fight for equality. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy shook the nation to its core. The Vietnam War divided the country. Watergate eroded public trust in government. As the 20th century gave way to the 21st, the United States found itself facing a new set of challenges and opportunities. The rise of globalization and the internet ushered in an era of interconnectedness unlike anything seen before. The tragic events of September 11, 2001, left an indelible mark on the American psyche. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq tested the nation's resolve. The Great Recession of 2008 shook the global economy to its core. Today, the United States continues to grapple with issues such as political polarization, economic inequality, climate change, and racial injustice. Technology continues to evolve at a dizzying pace, transforming the way we live, work, and interact with the world. The COVID-19 pandemic has tested the nation's resilience. It has also exposed deep-seated inequalities and vulnerabilities in our society. The United States faces a crossroads. What path will we choose? The answer to that question will shape the future of our nation for generations to come. The journey towards equality in America has been long and arduous. From the abolition of slavery to the civil rights movement, the fight for social justice has been a defining characteristic of the nation's history. The Civil War marked a turning point, ending slavery but leaving behind deep scars of racial prejudice and discrimination. The Jim Crow era saw the rise of segregation and discriminatory laws that denied basic rights to African Americans. Courageous individuals like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as leaders, challenging segregation and advocating for equal rights. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were landmark achievements, outlawing discrimination and ensuring voting rights for all citizens. However, the struggle for equality did not end there. The fight for civil rights extended to other marginalized groups, including women, Native Americans, LGBTQ+ individuals, and people with disabilities. Each group faced unique challenges and systemic barriers, from gender discrimination to cultural erasure. The women's suffrage movement, the Stonewall riots, and the Americans with Disabilities Act represent significant milestones in the ongoing fight for a more just and equitable society. These movements challenged traditional power structures and demanded recognition, respect, and equal opportunities for all. America has always been a nation of immigrants. From the first settlers who arrived on these shores to the waves of newcomers seeking a better life, immigration has shaped the nation's identity and destiny. The early 20th century saw a massive influx of immigrants from Europe, transforming cities and industries. These new arrivals often faced prejudice and discrimination as they assimilated into American society. They brought with them their cultures, languages, and traditions, enriching the nation's cultural tapestry. The latter half of the 20th century saw a shift in immigration patterns, with increasing numbers of immigrants arriving from Latin America, Asia, and Africa. This wave of immigration brought new challenges and opportunities, sparking debates about cultural identity, economic impact, and the meaning of American citizenship. The DREAM Act, for example, ignited passionate discussions about the rights and opportunities afforded to undocumented immigrants brought to the United States as children. The changing demographics of the United States have reshaped the nation's cultural landscape, creating a more diverse and multicultural society. This diversity has enriched the nation's arts, cuisine, music, and perspectives, but has also fueled anxieties about national identity and social cohesion. American values have evolved dramatically over the centuries, shaped by social movements, technological advancements, and changing global dynamics. The counterculture movement of the 1960s challenged traditional norms and values, advocating for peace, love, and individual expression. This era saw a questioning of authority, a rejection of consumerism, and a search for spiritual enlightenment. The rise of rock and roll music, the anti-war movement, and the sexual revolution reflected a profound shift in societal attitudes and expectations. The advent of the internet and the digital age ushered in a new era of connectivity, transforming communication, information sharing, and social interactions. Cyberculture emerged, blurring the lines between the physical and virtual worlds, creating new forms of community and identity. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram became powerful forces, influencing public opinion, shaping narratives, and connecting people across geographical boundaries. However, this interconnectedness also brought new challenges, including concerns about privacy, misinformation, and the spread of online hate speech. The United States has made significant progress towards becoming a more inclusive and equitable society. However, the journey is far from over. The fight for social justice continues, marked by both progress and setbacks. The election of Barack Obama as the nation's first African-American president was a watershed moment, signaling a growing acceptance of diversity and a rejection of racial barriers. However, it also sparked a backlash, fueling racial tensions and highlighting the persistence of systemic racism. The Black Lives Matter movement emerged in response to police brutality and racial injustice, demanding accountability and systemic change. The LGBTQ+ rights movement has also made significant strides with the legalization of same-sex marriage and growing acceptance of gender identity. However, discrimination and prejudice persist, highlighting the need for continued advocacy and education. The United States faces a choice: to embrace its growing diversity and strive for a more inclusive union, or to retreat into division and exclusion. The path chosen will determine the nation's future and its ability to live up to its ideals of equality and justice for all. From fields to factories, the rise of industrial America and the transformation of work. The United States began as a largely agrarian nation. Farmers worked the land, providing food for their families and communities, but the Industrial Revolution changed everything. Beginning in the late 18th century, it transformed the way goods were produced and shifted the workforce from farms to factories. New inventions like the cotton gin and the steam engine increased production. Factories sprang up in cities and people left their rural homes, seeking opportunities in these burgeoning industrial centers. The rise of factories led to mass production, making goods more affordable. However, it also led to new challenges. Working conditions in factories were often harsh. Workers toiled long hours and faced dangerous conditions for low wages. Labor unions emerged, fighting for better pay, safer conditions, and the right to organize. The struggle for workers' rights became a defining feature of the American labor movement. The Industrial Revolution had a profound impact on American society. It led to urbanization, economic growth, and the rise of a new middle class. However, it also created new social problems, including poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. This period laid the foundation for the modern American economy. The 20th century witnessed an unprecedented wave of technological innovation, transforming every aspect of American life. The automobile, invented in the late 19th century, became ubiquitous, revolutionizing transportation and creating new industries and suburbs. The airplane, first flown in 1903, shrank distances and connected people across continents, leading to the growth of the airline industry. The telephone, patented in 1876, revolutionized communication by allowing people to speak to each other instantly over long distances. The radio, invented in the late 19th century, became a household staple, bringing news, music, and entertainment into homes. Television, invented in the early 20th century, transformed how Americans consumed information and entertainment. These were just a few of the many technological marvels. These innovations had a profound impact on American society, creating new jobs, industries, and ways of life. They also led to social and cultural changes, affecting how Americans worked, played, and interacted with each other. The pace of technological change only accelerated in the latter half of the 20th century. The American economy has experienced periods of significant growth and prosperity, as well as times of hardship and recession. The Roaring Twenties, following World War I, was a time of economic boom, with rising stock prices, increased consumer spending, and widespread prosperity. However, the Great Depression, which began in 1929, was the worst economic downturn in American history. It led to widespread unemployment, poverty, and social unrest. The New Deal, a series of programs and reforms implemented by President Franklin D. Roosevelt, aimed to address the economic crisis. It expanded the role of the federal government, providing relief, recovery, and reform measures. World War II brought an end to the Depression, spurring industrial production and creating jobs. The post-war era saw sustained economic growth, fueled by consumer spending, housing construction, and the rise of the suburbs. The latter part of the 20th century witnessed economic challenges, including inflation, recessions, and growing income inequality. The North American Free Trade Agreement, implemented in 1994, had a significant impact on the American economy. It led to increased trade but also resulted in job losses in some sectors. The United States has played a central role in the global economy. It has been a leading exporter of goods and services. It has also been a major investor in foreign countries. After World War II, the United States emerged as a global superpower. It took the lead in shaping the international economic order, it promoted free trade, it supported the creation of institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Globalization, the increasing interconnectedness of national economies, has had a profound impact on the United States. It has led to increased trade. It has created new opportunities for American businesses and consumers. Globalization has also brought challenges. It has led to job losses in some sectors. It has increased competition from foreign companies. The rise of China as an economic powerhouse has posed significant challenges to American economic dominance. It has led to trade imbalances. It has fueled concerns about intellectual property theft. The United States continues to grapple with the challenges and opportunities of globalization. It seeks to maintain its economic competitiveness. It aims to promote fair trade practices. It strives to address the needs of workers who have been displaced by globalization. The future of the American economy is inextricably linked to the global economic landscape. The United States embarked on a daring experiment in 1776. It was a new form of government. It was a republic, not a monarchy. Power resided in the people. They would govern themselves. The Constitution, adopted in 1787, established the framework for this new government. It created a system of checks and balances. It aimed to prevent tyranny. It divided power among three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. The Bill of Rights, added in 1791, guaranteed fundamental rights. These included freedom of speech, religion, and the press. The early years of the Republic were a time of growth. They were also a time of testing. The young nation faced internal divisions. It faced external threats. The Civil War, fought from 1861 to 1865, was the greatest test of the Union. It was a conflict over slavery. It was a conflict over states' rights. The Union victory preserved the nation. It ended slavery. It reaffirmed the principle of federal supremacy. The United States emerged from the Civil War a stronger nation. It entered the 20th century as a rising power. It played a pivotal role in both world wars. It became a global superpower. The United States has a two-party system. The two major parties are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. They have dominated American politics for over 150 years. They have their roots in the early years of the Republic. The Federalist Party, led by Alexander Hamilton, favored a strong central government. The Democratic-Republican Party, led by Thomas Jefferson, advocated for states' rights. The two-party system has been a source of both stability and gridlock. It has provided voters with a clear choice. It has also led to political polarization. The parties have often been divided on major issues. These include the role of government, social welfare programs, and foreign policy. The two-party system has also fostered compromise. The parties have had to work together. They have had to find common ground to govern effectively. In recent decades, the two-party system has come under strain. Political polarization has increased. The parties have become more ideologically divided. This has made compromise more difficult. It has led to legislative gridlock. The rise of third parties and independent candidates reflects a growing dissatisfaction with the two-party system. Section 3. On the world stage, America's evolving role in international relations. The United States has played a complex and evolving role in international relations. In its early years, the nation followed a policy of isolationism. It avoided entangling alliances and focused on its own affairs. The Monroe Doctrine, articulated in 1823, declared the Americas off-limits to European colonialism. It signaled the nation's growing assertiveness in the Western Hemisphere. The late 19th century saw the United States emerge as a global power. It acquired overseas territories and intervened in Latin America and the Caribbean. World War I drew the United States into a major conflict. It abandoned its isolationist stance and played a decisive role in the Allied victory. After World War II, the United States became a global superpower. It confronted the Soviet Union during the Cold War, led the Western Alliance, and pursued a policy of containment, aiming to prevent the spread of communism. The post-Cold War era has presented new challenges, including terrorism, the rise of China, and climate change. The United States continues to grapple with its role in the world. It seeks to promote democracy, protect its interests, and address global challenges. Section 4. Navigating the 21st century political polarization, global challenges, and the future of American democracy. The United States faces a multitude of challenges in the 21st century. Political polarization has reached alarming levels. The two major parties are deeply divided and the electorate is increasingly polarized. This has made it difficult to address pressing issues including climate change, income inequality, and healthcare. The rise of social media has exacerbated polarization. It has created echo chambers and spread misinformation. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed deep divisions in American society. It highlighted inequalities and fueled mistrust in government. The United States also faces challenges on the world stage. China's economic and military rise poses a significant challenge. It has challenged American dominance and raised concerns about a new Cold War. Terrorism remains a persistent threat. It has led to costly wars and fueled Islamophobia. Climate change is an existential threat that requires global cooperation and demands urgent action. The future of American democracy depends on its ability to address these challenges. It must find ways to bridge the political divide, restore trust in government, and engage with the world in a constructive manner. The United States has overcome many challenges throughout its history. Its ability to adapt and evolve will determine its future success. Section 1. The Land of Opportunity. A promise tested, navigating the complexities of economic inequality and social mobility. The United States has long been seen as the land of opportunity, a place where anyone can achieve success. This belief is rooted in the American dream, the idea that hard work leads to upward mobility. However, the reality of economic opportunity in America is more complex. Economic inequality has been a persistent issue throughout American history. The gap between the rich and poor has widened in recent decades. This trend has been driven by various factors including globalization, technological changes, and government policies. The decline of manufacturing jobs has hurt many working-class Americans. The rise of automation has displaced workers, contributing to wage stagnation and job insecurity. At the same time, the wealthy have benefited from tax cuts and a booming stock market. Economic inequality has far-reaching consequences. It undermines social mobility, erodes trust in institutions, and fuels political polarization. Addressing economic inequality is essential for preserving the American dream. It requires a multifaceted approach, including investing in education, strengthening the social safety net, and promoting policies that create economic opportunity for all Americans. The United States has a complex relationship with its environment. It's a land of vast natural resources, but it's also a nation that has often prioritized economic development over environmental protection. The early 20th century saw the rise of the conservation movement. Leaders like President Theodore Roosevelt recognized the importance of conserving natural resources. They established national parks and created agencies to manage forests and wildlife. The mid-20th century saw a growing concern about pollution. Rachel Carson's book Silent Spring raised awareness about the dangers of pesticides. The first Earth Day, held in 1970, galvanized public support for environmental protection. The Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, was established in 1970. It was tasked with protecting human health and the environment, and it has played a key role in reducing air and water pollution. Today, climate change is the most pressing environmental issue facing the United States. It poses a significant threat to the nation's economy, infrastructure, and public health. The United States has made significant progress in public health over the past century. Life expectancy has increased dramatically. Diseases like polio and measles have been eradicated. These achievements are the result of advances in medicine, public health initiatives, and improved sanitation. However, the United States continues to face public health challenges. Chronic diseases like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes are leading causes of death. These diseases are often preventable. They are linked to lifestyle factors such as poor diet, lack of exercise, and smoking. The opioid epidemic is another major public health crisis. It has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. It has devastated communities across the country. Access to affordable health care remains a major challenge. The United States is the only developed country without universal health care. This means that millions of Americans lack health insurance. They face financial hardship when they get sick. Addressing these public health challenges requires a comprehensive approach. It involves investing in prevention, expanding access to care, and addressing the social determinants of health. Education has always been considered the cornerstone of American democracy. It is seen as essential for individual opportunity. It is vital for national progress. The United States has a long tradition of public education. It dates back to the early colonial period. However, access to quality education has not always been equal. The struggle for educational equity has been a recurring theme in American history. The Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court decision in 1954 declared segregation in public schools unconstitutional. It was a landmark victory for the civil rights movement. It paved the way for greater educational opportunities for African Americans. Despite progress, disparities in educational achievement persist. These disparities are often linked to race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds often attend under-resourced schools. They face greater challenges in succeeding academically. The United States faces a number of challenges in education. These include rising college costs, teacher shortages, and debates over curriculum and standards. Addressing these challenges is essential for ensuring that all Americans have the opportunity to reach their full potential. It requires a commitment to investing in education, supporting teachers, and creating equitable learning environments for all students. The story of the United States is one of constant transformation. From its humble beginnings as a fledgling republic, it has evolved into a global superpower, shaping and being shaped by the forces of history. We've witnessed a nation wrestling with its own contradictions, striving to live up to its ideals while grappling with the complexities of its past and present. The American spirit, characterized by resilience, innovation, and a belief in the possibility of progress, has been a driving force throughout its journey. From the pioneers who ventured westward to the entrepreneurs who built industries, from the civil rights activists who fought for equality to the innovators who push the boundaries of technology, Americans have always sought to create a better future. But this journey has not been without its challenges. The nation has confronted social divisions, economic disparities, political polarization, and environmental degradation. It has grappled with the complexities of its role in a rapidly changing world, navigating the tensions between its values and its interests. Yet, through it all, the American experiment continues. The Constitution, a testament to the wisdom and foresight of its framers, provides a framework for navigating these challenges. The democratic principles enshrined within it, though tested at times, offer a beacon of hope for a more just and equitable future. As we stand at the crossroads of the 21st century, the United States faces a future filled with both promise and uncertainty. The challenges are daunting, from climate change and economic inequality to political polarization and global instability. The choices made today will determine the course of the nation's destiny for generations to come. Will the United States rise to the occasion, drawing upon its legacy of innovation, resilience, and a commitment to its founding ideals? Or will it succumb to the forces of division, inequality, and short-sightedness? The answers to these questions lie in the hands of its citizens. The future of the United States depends on its ability to embrace its diversity, to foster a spirit of unity and common purpose, and to engage in constructive dialogue across differences. It requires a commitment to investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, creating opportunities for all Americans to thrive. It demands a recognition that the nation's fate is interconnected with that of the world, requiring cooperation and collaboration to address global challenges like climate change and pandemics. The journey ahead will not be easy, but the American spirit, forged in the crucible of history, offers a glimmer of hope. As long as there are those who believe in the promise of a more perfect union, who are willing to engage in the hard work of democracy, and who strive to create a better future for generations to come, the story of the United States will continue to unfold, its unwritten chapters filled with both challenges and triumphs, setbacks and breakthroughs. The journey, as always, is the destination.